session, we have discussed about how the FFT signal flow graph is obtained and its equation is written. So based on that, we have a small problem or an example. So if you look into this, what minimum size FFT must be used to compute a DFT of 40 points? So number of points are given, which is 40. What must be done to samples before the chosen FFT is applied, and what is the frequency resolution achieved? So this is what the example says. So to find the solution for this, first we look into the minimum size FFT which is given, which is a 40-point sequence. And if it is 40-point sequence, we cannot go with the lower number of points, because what we have is 4, 8, 16, and 32 and 64 and so on. So since 32 is lesser than 40, we cannot go with the minimum size, which is 40 here. So we cannot go lesser than this. So we have to go with the next value after 40. So that is 64. So that is what we consider here, 64. Then the sequence is extended to 64 by appending additional 24 zeros. I already told you regarding this. If the number of points are 5, we can change it to 8. We have to change it to 8 to find the DFT by appending the number of zeros which are required to make the sequence from 5 to 8. So 3 zeros are to be appended. Similarly here, from 40, we are going to increase the sequence size to 64, which is by appending 24 zeros. So this is what we consider initially. Then delta W is 2 pi by 40. 2 pi by 40 is nothing but 2 pi by the number of samples, which is n. So instead of 40, we are going to increase it to 64. So that is delta W is 2 pi by 64. Just a simple equation what we are going to use it here in this problem. Then derive the equations to implement a butterfly encountered in a DIF FFT implementation. So this is the butterfly structure for a DIF FFT implementation. We have already gone through this particular equation from a signal flow graph earlier, which is a butterfly structure. So using that, we are just used input output relations of the signal flow graph, which is giving us this equation indicating the real and imaginary part. Again, this is for A and this is for B. Then we are going to separate the real and imaginary parts. So once we separate the real and imaginary parts, we get AR dash, we get AI dash. So this is real and imaginary part of A, and BR dash and BI dash, this is the real and imaginary part of B. So this is how we are going to proceed with the example. Then next example, how many add or subtract and multiply operations are needed to implement a general butterfly of DIT FFT? So this is just how many add or subtract and multiply operations are required. So that is what we have to calculate. So if I go with the equations what we got here, in implementing DIT FFT structure, we see that add or subtract operations are 6. So here we can see that add or subtract operations are 6. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Actually this is a multiplication. So here it is 1, 2, 3, and 3. So it is 6, and multiply operations are 4. So one term gets multiplied with this, one term gets multiplied with this, another term gets multiplied with this, another term gets multiplied with this. So it's a 4 multiplication process which is required to be done. Done. Overflow and scaling, we have already discussed about overflow. That depends on the highest value what we are going to get after any process in the DSP. So we are going to load the maximum value or the highest possible value based on which we identify whether the result obtained is having a overflow error or not. Then based on that we are going to scale it. So in any processing system, number of bits per data in a signal processing is fixed, and it is limited by the DSP processor. So that is what we know. Number of bits per data in the signal processing is always fixed. So limited number of bits leads to overflow and it results in erroneous answer. So limited number of bits always lead to overflow and also it results in error. So in Q15 notation, the range of numbers that can be represented is -1 to +1. So this is the Q15 notation. If this value is exceeded when we see the result, or if this value of a number exceeds this limit, there will be a overflow or underflow. So underflow is for the least negative value what we can get in the form of a result, and overflow is for a most positive value what we get during the process of any operations. So data is always scaled to avoid overflow. So scaling is done, scaling is required to avoid this overflow. But it is an additional multiplication operation. So scaling is multiplying some value with some variable normally. So if I say x is some value, I want to scale it, I will scale it by 1 by 2 into x, which is 0.5x. So earlier it was 1x, now it is scaled to 0.5x. So that is what we consider it as multiplication process. Then scaling operation is simplified by selecting the scaling factor of 2 power minus 1. So I told you regarding this 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 is nothing but 1 by 2 power, it is minus 1, 2 power minus 1, it is 1 by 2. So that is a scaling factor example what I took. And scaling can be achieved by right shifting the data by n bits. So by right shifting, I can say that the scaling operation is done. And the scaling factor is defined as the reciprocal of maximum possible number in the operation. So this we have to note. If I consider a scaling factor, it is defined as the reciprocal of the maximum possible number of operations. So that is what I told. 2 power minus 1 is nothing but 1 by 2 power n. If n is 1, then it is 1 operation. So maximum possible number in the operation is 1. So that gives us the scaling factor. So multiply all the numbers at the beginning of the operation by scaling factor so that the maximum number to be processed is not more than 1. The same thing what I told you just now. So 1. If I multiply these numbers with 1, it is not going to exceed 1. It cannot be more than 1. So in the case of DIT FFT computation, we will just consider one example. AI dash is AI plus BI into WR power R plus BR into WI power R. So this is just an equation what we consider as an example from DIT FFT computation process. And AI plus BI WR power R is giving us cos theta. So this is a real part. So real part is always cos and imaginary part is always sine. So that is what we consider. And theta is 2 pi kn by n. So this is the value of theta. Now if I substitute the maximum possible value for the LHS term is obtained by differentiating and equating it to 0. So finding the maximum value is nothing but differentiating it and equating it to 0 is nothing but finding the maximum possible value. So tau AI dash divided by tau theta equal to minus bi into sin theta. So cos theta is differentiated and we obtain it as minus sin theta. Here sin theta is differentiated to get cos theta, and this has to be equated to 0. If I equate this to 0, this term can be transferred to the right hand side of the equation. So bi sin theta will be equal to br cos theta. Now I can just find what is sin theta by cos theta, which is equal to tan theta, giving me br by bi. Now sin theta, if I just form a right angle triangle by considering this adjacent by opposite by adjacent br by bi, then I can find what is sin theta, that is square root of real part square plus imaginary part square. So here it is the value what we get is bi square plus br square. Similarly cos theta is bi divided by square root of br square plus bi square. So substituting them in this previous equation, I get AI is equal to AI plus square root of BR square plus BI square. Then AI max, I will just label it as AI max because the maximum possible value I am finding by differentiating it and equating it to 0. So that is equal to 1 plus square root of 2. I just take it as 1. So this is 1, this is 1 because the maximum value what we consider here is 1. So 1 plus 1. So that is 2. So square root of 2 is something 1.414 plus the value of AI. Value of AI is 1. So that is giving us 2.414. Now the scaling factor is calculated. The scaling factor is 1 divided by this value. So 1 by 2.414 is giving us 0.414. The scaling factor for this is 0.414. So the scaling factor of zero point 0.4 is taken so that it can be implemented by shifting the data by 2 positions to the right. That is what we do in scaling this to 0.4. So scaling of 0.4 is considered here by shifting the data by 2 positions towards right. Then if I go with the symbolic representation of a butterfly structure, so instead of writing the structure, I'll just put a block here, symbol. So this is a symbolic structure and this is the factor. So this is the scaling factor what we have considered. So the complete signal flow graph with the scaling factor is shown here. So AR plus JAI, BR plus JBI, these two are the inputs, producing the outputs AR dash plus JAI dash and BR dash plus JBI dash. So having a scaling factor 1 by 4 with the twiddle factor Wn power R. So this is a representation of butterfly structure with a scaling factor. So similarly, if I proceed with the number of stages, for n equal to 8, we have 3 stages. The same concept here is considered. So this is stage 1, this is stage 2, this is stage 3. So instead of writing the signal flow graph by connecting the inputs and the output, I have just replaced it by symbolic representation. So this is 1 by 4, which is a scaling factor. This is again a scaling factor for this 2 inputs. This is scaling factor for 2 inputs. This is the scaling factor for 2 more inputs. And the output of this and the output of this is the input for the second stage. Output of this and the output of this is the input for the second stage. Similarly, another remaining output of this and remaining output of this is the input to the next stage. The remaining output of this stage and this stage is the this block is the input for this stage. Similarly, it continues till the end of the stage. So this is a signal flow graph with scaling. So this we can observe. Now, the same process what we have already carried out there, instead of integrating tau ai dash by tau theta, I have just taken it as tau bi dash by tau theta. So if I proceed with that, I get a slight variation in the maximum value. Instead of 1 plus square root of 2, that is 1 plus square root of 2 is 1.4 something, which is giving us a scaling factor of 1 by 2.414. So that is the scaling factor what we have derived using the previous concept. So if I just consider the other form of a differentiation to be done, then the scaling factor is the square root of 2. Instead of 1 plus square root of 2, it is just square root of 2, which is 1.414 actually, and 1 divided by 1.414 will give us 0.707. So to achieve this multiplication by scaling factor, we are going to right shift this, and it is chosen as 0.5. So we are going to choose it as 0.5 and we are going to right shift it. So this is just a theoretical approach what we are going to proceed with. Then one example, a time domain sequence of 73 elements is to be convolved with another time domain sequence of 50 elements using DFT to transform the two sequences, multiplying them and then doing the IDFT to obtain the resulting time domain sequence. To implement DFT or IDFT, the DIT-FFT algorithm is used. Determine the total number of complex multiplication needed to implement the convolution. Assume that each butterfly computation requires one complex multiplication. So from this equation, x1 of n length is 73 and x2 of n length is 50. So length of the convolved sequence will be the sum of these two, that is 73 and 50 minus 1, so 122. So length of DFT or ADFT is nearest value with the power of 2, that is 2 power n, which is not 122, which is 128. The previous value is 64, next value is 128, then 256, 512 and so on. So 122, so the nearest value to 122 in terms of 2 power n is 128. So 2 DFT and IDFT of length 128 are to be determined. So that is what we have the solution. The number of butterfly structures per stage is n by 2. So 128 by 2 is 64. The number of stages, that is log n to the base 2, that is log 128 to the base 2, which is equal to 7. Then total number of complex multiplication is 64 into 7 into 3. Number of stages. This 64 is number of butterfly structures per stage. So that is giving us 1344. Done. Next example. The computation in example 3 is to be implemented on a fixed point signal processor that takes 10 nanoseconds to do a integer multiplication. Determine the convolution computation time. If the computation is to be implemented for a real-time signal and each time a new signal is received, the transform is to be calculated. Determine the highest frequency signal that can be handled by the processor. Okay. The same example what we have considered here, but it is for fixed point. So for fixed point and the time of one real integer multiplication is given is 10 nanoseconds. So one complex multiplication is for real multiplication. So it's known from the equation previously from the signal flow graph equation what we have got from the butterfly diagram. The convolution time is 1344 from the previous example result into 4 into 10 nanoseconds. So 53,760 nanoseconds is the convolution computation time. Then the highest frequency signal that can be handled by this signal is 1 divided by the time. So 1 by t is nothing but fs. So f, what we are going to get, frequency 18.601 kilohertz. Then number of multiplications, if I consider a plus jb into c plus jd, if I just multiply and get the separate the real and imaginary parts, number of real multiplication will be 3, number of complex multiplication will be 3. So the convolution time or the convolution computation time is 40,320 nanoseconds. So instead of multiplying it by 4, we are going to multiply with 3. It is giving us instead of 53,760, it is 40,320 nanoseconds. So the highest frequency signal that can be handled by this signal is 1 divided by 40,320 nanoseconds, which is 24.8 kilohertz. Then this is a simple one to calculate the bit reverse index. So normally when we go with DIT FFT and AIF FFT algorithm, we see that the input and output sequences are in different order. In one case it is in a natural order or a proper order, in another case it is in a bit reverse order, might be input or output. So in order to calculate that, we require the input in bit reverse order. If it is DIT FFT, the input sequence can be arranged in bit reverse order by reverse carry add operation. So we are going to perform bit reverse addition. So add half of the DFT size to the present bit reversed index to get the next bit reversed index, and employ reverse carry propagation. So here whatever carry we are going to get, so we are going to transfer it from MSB to LSB, not from LSB to MSB. So that is from left to right carry is taken, not from right to left. So the original index and the bit reversed index for n equal to 8 is listed. So this is the original index, this is the bit reverse index. So for 0 it is same, for 4 to 1, so for 1 it is 4. So we are going to add this 0 plus the number of points. So the present reverse index is, for example, if we consider an example, so here we have considered this as an example 110. So 110 is a present index, and we are going to add the value 100, that is n by 2. Number of points are 8, capital N is 8, so 8 by 2 is nothing but 4. So we are going to add 4 to this, so it is 1 plus 1 0, carry 1. So from left to right we are going to add the carry or transfer the carry. So 1 plus 1 again 0 with carry 1, 1 plus 0 plus 0 is 1. So 8 4 2, so 2 is the next bit reversed order sequence for the previous order 110. So after 110 we get 001. So that is how we calculate the bit reverse index. So there are addressing modes in DSP which supports the bit reverse index, which do the computation of bit reverse operation. So that is what we consider if I go with the bit reverse operation.